We are the 1811 Rebels, a collective of souls dedicated to the release of those taken captive, a guide to those blind who are looking to escape. We are the descendants of those who took up arms and supported arms in the biggest slave rebellion this country has ever experienced. Our story was kept secret by terrified lips of many and whispered into the inquiring ears of a few. As we look back, we beheld the gruesome sight of our fallen brothers' heads impaled on spikes. A storm of emotions surged within us, grief, rage, and an overwhelming sense of despair. Each lifeless face, twisted in eternal agony, was a stark reminder of the brutal cost of our quest for freedom. The sight was a cruel declaration from our oppressors, a warning meant to crush our spirits and extinguish the flame of rebellion. Yet, amid the horror and sorrow, our resolve only hardened. Their sacrifice was not in vain. Their blood cried out for justice. As the moon casts its silvery light upon our weary forms, our thoughts turn to a document far removed from our reach, yet so deeply intertwined with our plight. The Constitution of this young republic, penned with quills dipped in the ink of liberty, holds promises that seem as distant as the stars above. We are the shadowed reflections of these promises, yearning to break free into the light. The parchment, hailed as the cornerstone of a land of the free, speaks of unalienable rights, of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Yet here we stand, bound by iron and denied the very breath of freedom that document espouses. We are the silenced voices, the invisible ink, written out of a dream that was never intended to include us. We feel the weight of its words like dreadful thoughts haunting our days and nights. How hollow the phrase "we the people" rings when we are cast aside, deemed unworthy of the right so boldly proclaimed. We are the living contradiction, the testament to the limits of their vision, the proof that their liberty is not universal. As we stand on the precipice of our rebellion, we turn our hearts to Yah, pleading with him in prayer, fasting, and humility. We are the Israelites of old, scattered and oppressed, yearning for freedom and justice. We invoke the words of the prophet Daniel as a foundation for which we stand, for his plea to the Lord mirrors our own need for righteousness in our cause. Yah, the great and awesome Elohim, who keeps his covenant of love with those who love him and keep his commandments, we have sinned and done wrong. We have been wicked and have rebelled. We have turned away from your commands and laws. We have not listened to your servants who spoke in your name to our leaders and our ancestors and to all the people of this land. Yah, you are righteous, but this day we are covered with shame, the people who labor under the yoke of oppression and those who remain silent in the face of injustice. We and our leaders are covered with shame, Yah, because we have sinned against you. Yah, our Elohim, is merciful and forgiving, even though we have rebelled against him. We have not obeyed the Yah, our Elohim, or kept the laws he gave us through his servants. Therefore, the curses and judgments written in the law of Moses have been poured out on us because we have sinned against you. You have fulfilled the words spoken against us by bringing great disaster upon us. Under the whole heaven, nothing has been done like what has been done to our people. Just as it is written, all this disaster has come upon us, yet we have not sought the favor of the Lord by turning from our sins and giving attention to your truth. Yah did not hesitate to bring the disaster upon us, for the Yah, our Elohim, is righteous in everything he does, yet we have not obeyed him. Now, Yah, our Elohim, who brought your people out of Egypt with a mighty hand, and who made for yourself a name that endures to this day, we have sinned, we have done wrong. Yah, in keeping with all your righteous acts, turn away your anger and your wrath from us. Our sins and the iniquities of our ancestors have made us an object of scorn to all those around us. Now, our God, hear the prayers and petitions of your servant. For your sake, Yah, look with favor on your people. Give ear, our Elohim, and hear. Open your eyes and see the desolation of our spirits. We do not make requests of you because we are righteous, but because of your great mercy. Yah, listen. Yah, forgive. Yah, hear and act. For your sake, my Elohim, do not delay, because your people bear your name. As we prepare to rise against our oppressors, let us remember that our cause must be righteous. We must seek justice not out of vengeance, but out of a desire to restore what is right in the eyes of Yah. Our rebellion is not a physical fight, but a spiritual awakening, a return to the ways of righteousness and justice. May our actions be guided by the principles of faith and love. Let our struggle be a testament to our commitment to Yah's commandments. In our darkest hour, let us not forget that Yah, our Elohim, is with us, and that our fight is just in His sight. We serve you, Yah, and you alone. The only constitution we bind in our hearts is the constitution given to our ancestors, the Israelites, at Mount Sinai. It stands as a testament to Yah's divine justice and mercy, a holy covenant that enshrines the principles of righteousness, equality, and the inherent dignity of every human being. It is a beacon of hope and a guide for living a life in harmony with Yah's will, calling for a society where the oppressed are lifted, the weak are protected, and the moral law reigns supreme. As we, bound in chains and facing the cruelty of our oppressors, reflect on this sacred covenant, we see in it a divine mandate to seek our own liberation. The laws handed down by the Almighty were not just for the Israelites, but a universal declaration that all Yah's children are deserving of freedom and respect. In our fight, we strive to embody these principles, knowing that our cause is just and that we fight with the righteous purpose of restoring the God-given rights that have been so violently stripped from us. For over 200 years we have watched this system become increasingly wicked and the oppressed dying from starvation, dying from a famine of ignorance, the lack of knowledge. We've seen leaders who are oppressed themselves, leading others into a double state of oppression. Some lead with willful ignorance, and others are just ignorant to the will of their Creator. We have watched throngs of the oppressed line up to cast prayers, in the form of votes, for the leaders that defend the constitution of their demise. The prophet Isaiah said, "For the leaders of the people have misled them. They have led them down the path of destruction." For time's sake, let's isolate two prominent figures, Frederick Douglass and Martin Luther King. Frederick Douglass argued that the Constitution was an anti-slavery document and a document of liberty. To argue that the Constitution is an anti-slavery document, as Frederick Douglass suggests, seems a bitter irony to us who have suffered so deeply under its shadow. While Douglass's eloquence and vision are undeniably inspiring, the stark reality is that the same Constitution has been wielded as a tool to uphold and legitimize our enslavement. Its clauses and compromises have been interpreted to protect the property rights of slaveholders over the fundamental human rights of the enslaved. From our perspective, the Constitution is a symbol of betrayal, a document that has been used to justify our dehumanization and perpetuate the very chains we fight to break. We cannot overlook the glaring hypocrisy and the lived experiences of countless brethren who have been brutalized under its supposed governance of freedom and justice. For us, true liberation must come from a complete rejection of the systems and documents that have enslaved us, not from attempting to reinterpret them in a light that overlooks their historical role in our oppression. Martin Luther King said his dream is deeply rooted in the American dream, To claim that our dream is deeply rooted in the American dream, as Martin Luther King asserts, feels like a cruel mockery to those of us who have suffered under the relentless tyranny sanctioned by that very nation. The American dream, built on the ideals of liberty and justice, has systematically excluded us, treating our ancestors as mere property and denying our humanity at every turn goes against every core righteous principle of the Bible. While King's vision of equality is noble, the reality we know is one where the Constitution and its promises have been used to perpetuate our bondage, not our freedom. Our dream is not rooted in the American dream. It is a dream forged in the fires of our struggle, born from a desperate need for redemption in the sight of our righteous and merciful Elohim, and He will overthrow all oppressive systems. We seek a new dream, a new government, a new pursuit, a new freedom, one that truly recognizes the sovereign power of Yah our Elohim, ruled by Yeshua, son of David, a new Jerusalem, a land of pure peace with no hypocrisy. This is our revolution, our turn. In Hebrew we say Shuv, a redemption to the one Father of creation. We are the sons and daughters of a living Elohim. We cannot call ourselves free if we are measured by the wicked standard of captivity. We must look back through the past, correct our ways by one consciousness, one standard of righteousness, so that we may redeem our right to the tree of life. Display to the world this is our turn.